The challenge begins. Today's matchup. Bisu, Kim Tae-kyung, Protoss. Flash, Lee Young-ho, Terran. KT Giga Internet, ASL Season 4, Semi-Final. KT Giga Internet, ASL Season 4.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the StarCraft Remastered ASL Season 4 Semi-Finals. Today's games could easily be the final of any StarLeague in the world, but tonight they have come a little early. It's Bisu versus Flash, and here on stage we have Kaspar introduce our players, take us into the games with a little bit of a player interview. So let's go ahead and welcome our first player to the stage. He is Kim Tae-kyung. That is Bisu. Bisu is the revolutionist, the Bruce Lee toss, the dagger, one of the 6 Protoss dragons, and one of the 4 holders of the golden badge. Of course, there you can see his lovely supporters there in the crowd cheering him on as we welcome him to the stage. Of course, now it is time to welcome his opponent, Lee Young-ho. This is Flash. Flash is God, the ultimate weapon, the little warrior. This guy has been everywhere and done it all. Aside from Nada, he is he's the only other player to be a holder of both a golden mouse and a golden badge, winner of 3 MSLs and OSLs and countless other tournaments. And now he has arrived here in the semifinals to face off against his longtime rival Bisu. So whenever I interview you, Bisu, you tell me that you take every moment as if it were the last moment. Are you going to just bet everything on this match and just leave it all on the table? Bisu says, I think Flash is known as being the final boss. And even in the semifinals, you know, that even seems like this semifinals is going to be tougher than the final. And we have so many fans here in the studio. Expect this to be an incredible match, so there's a lot of pressure on tonight's games. So you even said that the semi-final match might be the toughest match. So you must have prepared really hard for tonight's games versus Flash. But in the past, there have actually been plenty of moments where you've beaten Flash. You know, Flash is just such a great player that I think that he's actually better now than when he used to play previously. But today is going to be different.
뭔가 좀 마지막이라는 느낌으로 하다 보니까 뭔가 준비도 잘 됐고요.
Since I have taken every moment since my last performance to prepare for tonight's games, and I actually feel really good coming into tonight's games. So now to Flash. There is always people saying, you know, whatever, Flash is going to be the champion no matter what. It's a done deal. But your opponent is Bisu. This is not an easy opponent.
쉽게 올라갈 생각은 아예 안 하고 왔고요.
I don't think it will be an easy series at all. I really prepared hard to face Bisu tonight. And you know, it's exactly the same as Bisu. I think that this semi-final match is going to be the hardest game of the entire tournament. But Bisu just said, you know, now Flash is stronger than Flash in the olden days. What do you think about that comment, Flash? Well, I think it's the same for Bisu. Bisu is absolutely stronger than when he used to play before.
사실 진짜 저한테 끝판왕이라고 하는데 또 저한테 끝판왕은 태경이 형이 왜냐면 결승에 또 일장이 형이 있지만
So he says,
태경이
you know,
형
I'm the final
진짜 잘한다고
boss,
생각을 해가지고
but I think
정말
Bisu
오히려
is the
진짜
final boss for
결승이 너무
me.
어렵겠지만 4강이 진짜 정말 어려울 것 같아요. 그 생각에.
네, 이두 선수.
So I know, you know, the end of a tournament, the finals are always hard, but tonight's games will be the toughest matches.
시간치 오셔가지고 김태균 선수 응원해 주신 분이 많이 계시거든요. 추사표 이번 경기 임하는 각오 한 말씀해 주신다면요.
So there's a lot of fans here supporting both of you.
저도 근데
Do you have any
진짜
words for
다른
your fans,
사람이면
Bisu?
이긴다고 자신하겠지만 이영호라 진짜
Well,
잘
you know, if
모르겠습니다.
it's not
하지만
Flash,
진짜 최선을
then I
다해가지고
feel
저의
like I'd be more
경기력 다 보여드릴 수
confident
있도록
to
하겠습니다.
advance to the finals. But since it's Flash, you know, I will do my best for
최고임을 인정하고 있습니다.
do everything that I can to show my best games for the fans here tonight.
서로가 서로를 인정하고 있습니다. 이제 지켜볼 시간이 됐습니다. 과연 결승전에 올라가서 최고의
Both
커리어를
players
선수가 누가 될지 여러분의
greeted
뜨거운 박수!
each other.
4강전 대결의
They meet each other here in kind of their second heydays. So now we are about to find out who will advance the ASL Season 4 Grand Finals.
태경이었다고 봐야 될 것 같습니다. 속도감을 따라오지 못하면 결국 중립 멀티가 털립니다.
대우승 후보 이영호 선수의 1경기, 2경기, 3경기 승리를 따내면서 3대5로 깔끔히 4경기 진출합니다.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ASL semifinals. My name is Rapid, and I'll be holding down the ship while Tasteless and Artosis are away at BlizzCon. You know, this is going to be a one-man kind of deal here, but we have reached into our pot of greed and drawn two amazing players for this semifinal, and like both of them were saying on stage, this could easily be the best series of the entire tournament. Flash and Bisu, two legendary players who have faced off against each other time and time again. I think their lifetime totals are something like 11-16 in Flash's favor, but it is close. It's about a 40-60 kind of split. And if you look at the last matches that Bisu played against Flash back in the previous era of StarCraft's Brood War, I believe Bisu did come out on top. And in fact, the last time that both of these players faced off against each other in an offline event, I believe that was it was a KT Giga Legends match, and Bisu actually wound up knocking Flash down to the lower bracket. So it was just a best of one, so it's nothing quite like the pressure that either of the players are feeling here today in front of an absolutely packed packed out audience here at the Free Cup studio in Samsung, Seoul, South Korea. If you are here and did not get a chance to get a ticket or get a seat in the studio tonight, we're actually also broadcasting the event downstairs on floor B1. That's the first basement floor of the same building that this studio is in. So if you go down to the basement, there is actually seating and a viewing area down there if you don't want to stand plastered up against the wall along with hundreds and hundreds of other fans. Let's take a look at the way the bracket looks today. We have our first finalist yesterday with Hero advancing on 3-2 rather, over Larva in the semifinals. And tonight, we will find out who will join him, Bisu or Flash, in a best of 5. It does not get more epic than this. I realize, in previous seasons of the ASL, we've had things like Flash versus Jaedong. That was an intense match. But I really feel like you cannot get two players playing more at the pinnacle, the apex of their games here tonight. These are the maps they will be fighting on. Crucial to note, let's just go through the maps. It is Gladiator, Fighting Spirit, then I believe we have, let's see, Crossing Field, or Fighting Spirit, and then Crossing Field, and then of course, I think the biggest thing to point out is that we are repeating Gladiator as our final map of the night. So that is actually super, super crucial because Gladiator, you can think of it as like the pizza map, but it does get a little bit down and dirty, and especially for Protoss, because there is a low ground natural and several other map characteristics that we'll talk about. Protoss actually have a little bit of an edge on the map, depending on how things play out. So, we'll talk about that as the games go through, but if it does go down all the way to that 5th set, and it absolutely could, this is just going to be incredible. And of course, okay, here's the stats here. I believe I might have been factoring in a few other matches when I was giving you the stats earlier. Curse you, TLPD. But these are the stats that we're going to go with tonight. 6-12, so Flash doubling up Bisu in the matches that are tallied up here head-to-head against each other. Of course, now talking through our match points and what we need to focus on for both of these players. Now, Bisu has the most wins in the ASL. He has consistently progressed further and further on in this tournament. In fact, he didn't play in the first ASL. He made top 8 in the second, top 3 in ASL Season 3, and now he's made it to the semifinals once again. Now, a similar story for Flash. He made top 8 in the first ASL, but since then it has been win, 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 no matter what. He's got a lot more than money on his mind tonight, though, as he faces off against Bisu, a legendary opponent, the strongest player that you could really hope to have against him. We've had very strong players like Effort, like Last, like Best. All of these legendary players, they're all gone. They could not make it this far in the tournament. But of course, both of our players have had different paths here. Flash taking a kind of convincing win over Mind in his semifinal, or his quarterfinals, and of course an equally dominant victory for Bisu over Baxter. Kind of a surprise entrant into the round of 8, and so it's just so electric here. You can hear me, but I can hear behind me just fans just cheering and kind of clapping nonstop. There's not a whole lot to clap for right now except the anticipation for tonight's games. These guys, I'm not sure, but I do not believe that they have ever met in a finals of an offline Korean StarLeague before. So I'm heavily qualifying that just to make sure I'm a little bit more right. But they did meet in the semifinals of the 2008 Bacchus OSL. And if it didn't get any more epic, we've got Silver Scrapes being played before we head into our semifinal match. On your screen right now, you can see Kim Taek-young, holder of a golden badge that is awarded for 3 MSL victories and in dominant fashion over some of the strongest players of the day. And of course, his standings, his stats for this season of ASL had just been impeccable. I mean, it's been basically like the flat codec. Lossless, 5-0, dominant victories over everyone that has stood in his path. Even before he plays these semifinal matches, he has already won over 8 million won. It's about $8,000 if you want to look at it all total. So you really could not ask for a better opponent. super, super handsome, and he's only gotten more beautiful, and his play has gotten more beautiful as time has gone on. But of course, a guy with pretty sexy play himself and an equally sexy BGM to go into tonight's games. This is Flash, of course, with Globus being played, or I guess Electric Romeo if it's the acoustic version. Introing him into tonight's games. I mean, it just doesn't get more epic than this. One of, if not the best player to ever play Brood War, of course, certainly in this era, the dominant figure in StarCraft Remastered. The two-time ASL Season 2 and Season 3 champion. And of course, an equally lossless victory score here as well. You can just see, looking at his ASL prize money, 43 million won. It's a lot of cash being put in his hand, and of course, you can just see his records there. Oddly enough, and well, I guess interestingly enough, the lowest win record this season, or actually all seasons, is versus Protoss. So maybe a little bit more of an edge going to Bisu. And in fact, in the spawn matches this most recent month, that sponsored matches that these guys play against each other online, Bisu and Flash went 4-3 in the 7 matches that they played against each other. And I know those are only online games, so you really can't read too many in them. But the point is, these two players are ridiculously evenly matched. We have not gotten a chance to see Flash play against Protoss in a while, ever since the Soul Cup Super match, where Flash played against Best and Stork. Bisu, however, did have, I think it was Sock and Mind in his group, and so we've gotten a chance to see him play against Terran recently. Our first map in this ASL semifinal will be on Gladiator. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into game number 1.
ASL Season 4.
Gotta make sure I go. I was wrong, I can tell, for the heart can be blind and frozen. Now I left with the
I'm just gonna let the crowd do the commentary for tonight's games. It's insane, it's packed. We've got more people than I've ever seen in one building before, and I've seen a lot of buildings, guys. They're all here to watch these guys. On your screen, this is Bisu. Well, that was Bisu. And already a pause. Bisu, of course, in the orange. Flash in the purple, and me on screen for a little bit longer. Spent like 30 minutes in makeup today just to make me into a beautiful sight to see, but of course, no one more beautiful than the two players behind us. You know, this is a game that would be a lot to ask for commentary from just about anyone. So, you know, for all the other Brood War commentators that put a lot of effort and many hours and hours of their lives into this, whether it's like Diggity Mole Trap, Klazar, Cholera Rise, Nuke the Stars, everybody out there, I wish you guys could be here because I certainly wouldn't be without you. And of course, it is certainly an honor to get a chance to cast these players, but also to watch them. I mean, you really just have to like plug a feed directly into your brain and just lean back and bask in all the goodness that's going on here tonight. Just to talk about the two players, I was talking about how they were kind of evenly matched, and certainly in the games that they've been playing online lately, it has been being traded kind of back and forth. But Bisu and Flash also occupy the two highest win rates in kind of the streamer ladder. Basically, all the pro players nowadays stream on AfreecaTV or other viewing platforms, and they play games against each other that are sponsored either by fans or by donations or other things like that. And there's a ladder that keeps track about of who wins against who and sort of derives an elo from that. And Flash and Bisu are number 1 and number 2. Basically, much like Just for Men, the best a man can get. Of course, everybody anywhere out there. This is basically the best for you too. It's just incredible to think about two players kind of at the tip top of their game. And I know actually a lot of people, a lot of fans would say that these two guys used to be way better at the peak, the pinnacle of Brood War. But I don't know who to believe when Flash and Bisu are both standing on stage saying, look, I played against this guy for years and he's never been better than he is right now. So you really have to kind of take them at their word and just say, you know, look, this is the best Brood War. You'll get a chance to watch basically forever. And actually for Bisu, it's a little bit more strenuous schedule, because not only does he have to play the semifinals, and then of course eventually the grand finals, I believe on the 12th of next month, But he also has to fly to BlizzCon to play in a StarCraft Remastered show match against Jaedong. So that is pretty insane as well. He's got a lot going on, a lot on his mind. But as he said during the interviews, he has basically been spending every waking moment practicing and preparing for these games. And I wanted to take a look at kind of the form that both of these players are in coming into today's games. A lot of people were predicting that Baxter, Bisu's round of 8 opponent, would just be a total stomp, a walkover victory for Bisu. And while it was a 3-0, you have to look at the way in which Bisu won those games. It wasn't just that Baxter was a clearly inferior opponent. He actually put up a pretty good fight for having made it so deep in a tournament no one expected him to. But it's the way in which Bisu won those games. Bisu called the Revolutionist for how he revolutionized the Protoss versus Zerg matchup. And you just got to see quintessential Bisu, the fundamentals, the essence of every bit of his play in that series. He was doing everything you've seen him do before, better than it's ever looked. And you just have to kind of get chills running down your spine because, like, oh my God, this guy is just so insane. And he's playing against Flash, another guy who went up against Mind in the round of 8. And in the interview preceding their games there, Mind basically said, look, whoever wins today is going to win the finals. He was that confident that he and Flash were just at the tip-top of their games. And Flash beat that guy so hard. So you really have to take a look at not only what they're saying about each other, but about the players that they have faced and overcome on their way here to the Grand Finals. Both of them got seeded based on their round of 4 finish last ASL into the round of 16, and they've both looked flawless ever since. Neither one of them having dropped a game. It's just so intense to watch that. Shout out from Denmark, Team Flash. Basically a superhero. Of course, thanks to everybody for coming down there. I saw quite a few foreigners in the audience, so no matter where you are coming from, thanks for stopping by. Hey, there's Tasteless. Injong. So, yeah, shout out to that guy. Those are fans celebrating, I believe, Bisu there. Of course, a very handsome man right there. Of course, let's see if we can get an update on what the issues are for our players. It looks like Flash has some mouse issues, so we're going to go ahead and get him all fixed up with those. While we get more of me on the screen. The main attraction, of course. No, it's just been such a cool semifinals. If you didn't catch the games on Sunday, I am going to spoil those. Also caught the second season of Stranger Things on Sunday as well, but I'm not going to spoil those. So the only spoilers you get are going to be StarCraft Remastered ones. And surprise, Hero actually was the player to take out Larva and advance on to the second semifinals. On the other side, we have this game. So we should be getting into this, if I am not mistaken, as soon as Flash overcomes his mouse issues. And it does look like both players have agreed that it will be a regame. So forget where you saw spawning locations and positions. For all intents and purposes, nothing had really happened that game, so it does look like we're just going to have a quick regame, remaking everything, starting totally over again, just to make sure that everything starts the way that both players want. And just to kind of give you an idea of how precise the settings, the hardware, everything is for both of these players. They actually might show it on screen. I know they did it the last time that Flash played, but more players than just Flash, but certainly mainly Flash. Every time they go play a game, a series, Flash brings like a ruler with him. And I think it's Tokido, the Street Fighter player for Echo Fox, also does this, where he takes a ruler and he'll measure the distances between his like mouse pad and his mouse and his monitor to his face, all kinds of crazy stuff like that, just to make sure that every minute setting is the best that it can be. That joke was super funny, so everybody laughed at it. But yeah, things just have to be crazy precise. So we're looking at getting Flash's issues all sorted out and then loading back into our first game on Gladiator. Man, you really prepare for these things and you just think to yourself, well, there's no way I could have more than 45 minutes to fill, and then you reach moments like this. So this is, the true test of a caster's mettle. It's like, can they keep talking when there's actually nothing going on? Luckily, both of these players have kind of a history that precedes them. So even if you don't care about listening to what I am saying, you should definitely care about this game. Even if you haven't watched StarCraft Brood War or StarCraft Remastered before, if this is your first game or if you have watched these guys play for their entire careers, this is going to be the game for you. Right as I say that, as if on cue, we're about to get back in to regame game number 1.
I was wrong, I can tell, for the heart can be blind and
frozen. We just needed more cheers. So let's go ahead and talk about the spawning locations for both of our players. The blue Protoss will be Bisu up in the upper left-hand corner of the map Gladiator. On the other side in the upper right, this is our purple Terran Flash, Young Ho and Kim Taek-young, respectively. So let's talk about this map. It is not entirely symmetrical. It's like you took a perfect square and then you just kind of tilted it a little bit to the right. And that actually changes a lot about spawning locations here. If you spawn top left versus bottom left or top right versus bottom right, there are huge differences in those bases. The biggest of which is that you can see that Flash's base is actually, the minerals are way more protected kind of right up against the map wall. So there's not a lot of room to drop behind there. But if you look behind Bisu's base, the mineral patch actually has a big chunk of space. You can fit a whole lot of stuff back there. So if you spawn north and south, it's an easy shuttle or dropship route to put a bunch of stuff where your opponent doesn't want it. The other characteristic that I pointed out earlier that we can talk about in this map is low ground mains. That gives the player that doesn't expand a little bit more of a disadvantage, because you really do need high ground to keep yourself from being susceptible to any kind of rush that keeps you from getting up that ramp to your high ground natural. I guess the only other thing to talk about is we highlight the starting builds. It's going to be a barracks first and probably gateway first as well for Bisu. Yeah, so no fast expands for either one of our players. The other characteristic is kind of the pizza wedges that we'll see. It's high ground, low ground, high ground, low ground out there on the map in a radially symmetrical design. And that does make it kind of like the painful parts of a map like Heartbreak Ridge, where you kind of just have to go up and down the ramps. And it can make it kind of slow treading for Protoss if the game does drag on, because you're going to have to go through minefield after minefield, high ground, low ground, and just clear all of that. And it can be pretty difficult if you don't have really good control and observers where you need them. So let's keep an eye on where our players are scouting, just trying to see what is in store. Both players actually headed the wrong way. Actually, I guess Bisu hasn't totally committed to the scout yet. A cheeky pylon. That pylon is not necessarily setting up for a base, but it's to set up for if Flash were to have spawned down at the 8 o'clock location, then you would be able to see any dropships or craziness coming your way via that pylon. On the other side, Flash did scout horizontal, or yeah, vertical. That's vertical. He scouted vertically. I tell you, it's as hard as right and left, guys. And didn't find Bisu, and so now he's actually going cross positions. That's kind of a common scouting pattern. You scout one close position and then all the way across to the other close position, just because those are the positions that will impact the game, I think, earliest, theoretically. But eventually, yeah, here is Flash finding his way into Bisu's base, and the game progressing pretty normally, pumping out a few Marines early on, but then transitioning pretty quickly into mech. Now, I've watched a few games of Flash play TVP. In games versus guys like Best, he has shown kind of a propensity to try to bust out or bust in with maybe a little bit of an early Marine count. So usually you don't produce very many Marines versus Protoss because they're just not that great. They die like pretty easily. So you usually don't want to produce that many. Sometimes Flash does, and he goes for an aggressive push. That's not actually what's happening right here. You can see the bunker at the front, the Dragoon there to deny further scouting information. Probably take this SCV down. Oh, can't kill it up the ramp. That is not going to happen. But things should progress. Oh, there we go. Hello. Goodbye. No more SCV for you. believe that is a second scouting SCV for Flash out on the map, and you'll always see him do this. He always wants as much information as possible, so he keeps his always either 1 or 2 SCVs out there scouting around. This looks pretty normal. You've got a bunker at the front door because Dragoons and Dragoon range are very, very powerful early on. You can already see that, allowing these Dragoons to outrange the bunker, deal consistent damage, and force SCVs to be pulled. Now this is great early on, and okay, he actually does need to, I think, is that enough? You need 1 SCV per Dragoon. And he actually has that one waiting behind just in case more Dragoons come up. Now, how many Dragoons do you commit to here? One saved back at home to try to stop. Oh, body blocking, but it's actually blocking the Dragoon as well. Wow, that shot, did that just not connect? I don't know. Theoretically, every shot has like a .0001 chance to miss just randomly, I believe. And then there are doodads and other things that you know, cause higher miss chances. The biggest one, of course, is high ground versus low ground, where you just never want to fight on the low ground. Of course, you'd know that if you watched Star Wars or played Brood War. It's kind of a common theme. But here we go, 5 Dragoons at the front door, and they're actually not totally committing to getting up here and pressing this. But one cool aspect of this matchup is that if you do put this pressure on, you kind of guaranteed have to get siege mode. Now, I believe I remember watching Best try to put this kind of pressure onto Flash in his OGN Super Match series, and what Flash did there is he actually went for an early Starport and then tried to get out an early Wraith to deal with any drop play. And drop play is actually kind of popular here, and you know, while we're talking about Bisu here, and if you want to talk about the defining unit for Bisu, I think kind of hands down it's going to be the Dark Templar, but almost kind of right up there with that is the Shuttle, and that's really kind of the style I want to see Bisu play here. Is going to be really drop heavy, because if you watched his round of 8 games where he played versus Baxter, I was about to say Killer, ugh, name that shall not be uttered, Baxter, it was just drops all the time. Sure, there were DTs involved, but given that this is a different matchup, I don't know, I'm just really excited for that. I was watching a bunch of Bisu's stream a couple days ago, and yeah, it looked like that was kind of the style that he was favoring. But just trying to see exactly what is on the way here. Of course, no surprise to see the Terran pumping out siege tanks, going in towards this mech style. Observatory coming up, and yeah, actually going to be going Reavers, so that's pretty cool. And of course, here is that shuttle to pick the Reavers up and help them not be slow little caterpillars on the ground. What was the caterpillar's name from A Bug's Life? I totally forget that. Otherwise, I had a joke for it. But no, not allowed. You guys are going to have to help me out with that. This is going to be our Captain Planet cast, where we're going to do it by our powers combined. So I'll leave that up to you guys when we talk about the game and see what's going on here. So, generally in PvT, the onus is on the Protoss player, because Terran kind of has inevitability on its side. There's just not a whole lot that stops a 3-3 maxed out mech push when it wants to go somewhere. Protoss generally has an easier time getting out of the map and expanding, and that's why you can see this third base coming down. And so as Protoss, you kind of want to get out there on the map and play like you'd expect kind of like a Zerg player to play. Get out there, take a bunch of bases, expand everywhere, because when the Terran player pushes out and tries to take out a base, you know, sometimes it's easy, it's better, it's more cost effective to just let him have it and build more elsewhere. But here we go, we're actually going to look for the first interaction that we're going to see this game. There's a shuttle, it's got a Reaver inside most likely, but these siege tanks have yet to siege. Whoa, got to keep that careful. Now there's no Goliaths here, so that shuttle is in a pretty good spot. He only really has to worry about Marines, but of course you don't want to drop your Reaver where it's going to get hit by siege tank fire. So the shuttle is actually just going to fly all the way over these tanks. If it drops it on the high ground behind and there's nothing to scout, that can actually mean great Reaver shots on siege tanks that are left behind. But here we go. Flash is pushing forward. Siege, unsiege, over and over again. Mechanics at their finest, but Bisu doing such a good job. Stutter stepping forward, back, and here we go. The shuttle coming in, dropping Zealots right on top. There's the Reaver, but he doesn't have time to get a Scarab shot off. Where is the first shot? It's not firing. Did he forget to build Scarabs? I don't know, but he's not firing. I don't think I've seen a Scarab go off. There's the first one, and it is getting pot shots off on the tanks, but mine's actually being drug all the way into these Dragoons, and eventually Bisu will be forced back. Oh, so intense, so clutch. Bisu's hanging on, but he is losing precious Dragoons here. He's actually still manording probes, and that's not where you want him to go. They will get taken out. A sick mind drag there. Great job, but he needs to pick up that Reaver. Lots of mines on the ground. He's actually just going to sack a Dragoon. No, that's not the time. He ferried his probes. Maynard, this is not your time to enter into a Brood Warcast. He is not going to have very many probes at that third base anymore. And so that is a big economic hit, but the biggest thing to watch out for will be the effectiveness of this Reaver. Bisu has committed a lot to this tech, but we've only seen a couple of Scarab shots go off. And behind this, Flash is just continuing to rally up forward forces. Scarab hits onto the tank, but it survives with just a sliver of HP. The SCV repairing it is good enough to keep it alive. That will be enough to take it out, but in the end, look at the vulture numbers. They are doing what vultures do best, and that is picking on dead meat. Well, there's no meat in that Dragoon, but there is a soul of a Zealot. That's not going to be lasting for very much longer. Pulling the probes, because these vultures are reigning with impunity all over this natural expansion, and with siege tanks sieging in range of that support bay, you're going to need to deal with that. No! He loses the Reaver! The control is not good enough, but eventually that Zealot will push forward, take out all the mines and the most forward siege tank. So hanging on for dear life, but Bisu is just kind of struggling right now. He's got another shuttle in here, and it does have, I believe, a couple of Zealots in it, but he is just really hanging on for dear life. He's not mining at his third, he's not mining at his natural, and Flash is just rallying more and more forces across the map. No upgrades here for either player, so they are still fighting with those basic units, but will it be enough? Eventually, Zealots coming out in strong enough numbers to take out the most forward tanks, but it just feels like Flash's rally is just too strong. No one makes more units more consistently than Flash does, and he is just putting that to the test right here. He's been able to push all the way up into Bisu's natural expansion, and keep in mind, this is the high ground. No! Oh my god, so much explodes with that one mine shot, and now even the Zealot's getting taken out. There's just not a whole lot here. He's trying to get shots off with the Reaver, but it goes down after taking a couple of vultures with it, and that's gonna do it. GG, Bisu taps out, and Flash takes game number 1 of our semifinal best of 5. Ugh, sickest game number 1 on the map Gladiator. You know, we talked about how maybe Protoss might have a slight advantage on that map. No, Flash is too good. He is able to take out Bisu in game number 1. Wow. Well, if you were Bisu, you really needed a win right there, because coming up next, it's going to be Fighting Spirit, the most played map in the history of all maps, and no one has played that map more than Flash, I want to say. Okay, so you're the one guy on ladder that has 20,000 games. Congratulations, you get a golf clap. But Flash gets to win games there because it is so standard. And when you're Flash, you want to keep things as normal, as standard as possible. You can see that look on Bisu's face, maybe a little bit more concerned than usual. Normally concerned with just looking super handsome, but now has to worry about having dropped game number 1 against an opponent like Flash. So some pursed lips and a lot of thoughts on his mind coming in there to game number 2. But before we get into game number 2, we have a quick commercial break, so don't go anywhere. If you're sitting in your seat, definitely don't go anywhere, because that will be snatched up instantly. But we'll be right back after a short commercial break with game number 2, the ASL Season 4 semifinals.
그래픽이 좋은 게임을 되게 선호하는 편이거든요. 스케일이 큰 게임이라 생각했어요.
굉장히 배우기가 일단 쉬워요. 그냥 부담 없이 손 안에서 FPS 게임을 할 수 있는 게 가장 큰 매력인 것 같아요. 오버워치 쪽 BJ, 뭐 배틀그라운드 BJ, 서든어택 BJ 이렇게 나오는 자존심 대결이죠.
샷이랑 서든어택이랑 느낌이
제일 비슷해요. 저희 게임 중에서 느낌 제일 비슷해요.
샷은 배그 쪽이 더 섬세하지 않나요?
비교가 안 되죠.
비교가 안 되죠.
어이가 없네. 건축 이렇게 하시면 3D로 막 이렇게 도면하시잖아요. 그게 배그라고 치면 서든은 그냥 탑자예요. 단면만 보면 되거든요. 단면만 보고 쏘는 거예요.
그래서 나도 이번에 샷발 대결도 좀 궁금해요. 우리가 하려는 게 팀 데스매치 몇 판 몇 승으로 하는 게 좋은 거죠.
길게 하면 우주의식이기 때문에 임팩트 있게 딱 해야 되는 것 같아요.
그 다음에 총기에 대한 규정은 서버에 반영된 모든 총기 다 사용을 하셔도 돼요.
우승 상금은 따로 있는 거예요?
300.
2등이 200.
300, 200.
그리고 올스타전 때 이기는 팀이 100, 올스타전에서 MVP 받는 사람이 개인으로 100.
팀은 그러니까 뭐 제한이 없어요. BJ들 친한 BJ 분들이 오셔도 되고, 그다음 팬들이 함께 팬이랑 같이 해도 되고.
센 상대는 없을 것 같고 개인적으로 좀 약한 상대는 서든 좀 오래된 게임 하신 분들 있지 않습니까?
제가 봤을 때 그분 그 자동 모드보다 못합니다. 아마 예능으로 뽑을 수 있는.
뭐라고요? 아니 주작하지 마시고 방송을 좀 재밌게 하려고 못합니다. 일부러 누가 됐든 저랑 처음 붙으신 팀 있지 않습니까? 진짜 각오하셔야 될 것 같아요.
배틀그라운드 자체를 잘하는 거지 그냥 다른 그냥 샷바는 좀 별로지 않냐 이런 얘기 좀 많이 나왔었는데 그러니까 이번에 한번 보여드릴 수 있도록 해보겠습니다. 제가 만약 기누다님 팀한테 지면은 서든 계정 탈퇴, 서든 삭제하고 앞으로 3방송만 3시간 이상씩
우먼 파워를 보여드릴 거기 때문에 절대 멸망하지 않습니다.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second ASL Season 4 semi-final. We are back after what just looked like Flash doing #things Flash does. I mean, really at no point really under pressure. Bisu is trying to put the pressure on at the front door, but it just didn't work out. We had a little bit of a delay that exhausted all of my filler content, so if things go according to plan, we'll just be getting right back into game. And game number 2 will be on Fighting Spirit. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and announce our grand finals location. This will be at Hanyang University Olympic Gymnasium. Of course, this is the up in the northeastern corner of line number 2. So if you're in Seoul, South Korea, or planning on being here around about the time of November the 12th, then that is where you can go to watch our grand finals. And if you watched the Seoul Cup, was a super match just a few weeks ago with Artosis and Wolfcasting Brood War there, it's the same place. So we're going to bring Brood War back in many, many different ways all at the same time. Wow, what a game number 1. I feel like I've definitely used up a disproportionate amount of my vocal strength in that game, but it was so sick. Flash just pushing across to victory. Bisu tried to go for this Reaver drop kind of play, but it just didn't work out. He was never able to get the shots off, and I'm not sure what was up with his Reaver in the first few times that he dropped it out. Either he didn't want to risk it tanking a tank shot, or the Scarabs just hadn't been built at that point. I don't know, because they just weren't happening. So Bisu needed a couple of crucial shots, and he really didn't get them. And then also kind of making the decision to Maynard his probes down right at the time where Bisu's tanks and vultures get up there. Probably not the place that you want them to be. So that's going to do it for game number 1. Game number 2, like I said earlier, is going to be on Fighting Spirit, and this is the most standard map. So both players played basically Infinity games here, and it's going to be interesting to kind of see not only what the state of the tip-top, the pinnacle of PVT looks like, but also to kind of see where these players stand and what is really the litmus test of how this series is going to go. And really, regardless of if you're a fan of Bisu or Flash, StarCraft 1, StarCraft 2 video games, real-life stuff, we all know which one's better there. Tonight's games are going to be good no matter what. If you're a Flash fan, then a 3-0 victory is just awesome. And if you're a Bisu fan and he wins 3-0, then everything is changed. nothing will ever be the same. Here you can see the man that won game number 1 on your screen, Flash, with his trademark Pokari sweat, even the smallest hint of an eye twitch, and that's how you know it's going down. His opponent, Bisu, looked a little bit worried after game number 1, but if anyone can innovate or revolutionize anything he wants, it is Bisu. You know, back in the day, he was not really known for his PBT. He was more of a PBZ specialist, but nowadays he's actually looked really, really good. Has a super high win rate against basically every other Terran opponent that he's played, whether it's Sakmong, Rush, all those guys. He's been dominating them in sponsored matches this month. And so he's looked great against the Terran in general, but I don't think you could ever count Flash as part of Terran in general. So let's see how he fares against God in game number 2 of our ASL semifinals. So we get into that game on Fighting Spirit. Let's go. Almost. There's Fighting Spirit. And now we're finally ready to get into game number 2. Can never tell which crowd shot it's which, but it's time for game number 2 on Fighting Spirit.
KT Giga Internet, ASL Season 4.
Gotta make sure I go. I was wrong, I can tell. For the heart can be blind and frozen. Now I left with the pain every night, every day.
As I read the letters he wrote me, probably not healthy. Don't do that, guys. Do cheer for your favorite players because they will need it. The hardest tests of their skills before them here today. Of course, this is Kim Tae-kyung or Bisu, the best Protoss pretty much ever to play the game. You can argue that, but the argument always includes Bisu. And of course, here is the ultimate weapon, Flash. Oh, so scary. And they will be fighting against each other, horizontal positions on the bottom side of Fighting Spirit. There's the ASL map data, and of course 9 wins versus 6 Terran favored there, but you have to look at who those wins are. And of course lots of them include Flash. Of course lots of them include Bisu on the other side there. And so not necessarily authoritative stats, but that's just the way things look this season. Already putting the first pylon out there. We'll see what the builds are to start things out. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see kind of the same openers as we saw in the last game. Just going unit production structure into supply structure or the other way around and then expanding after that. Now, several people, at least in reading kind of the analysis of the way that this game would go, surmised that there would be an opportunity for Bisu to go for an aggressive proxy. Now, I don't actually think that's very likely because I feel like maybe there's just a gentleman's agreement saying, look, we're just going to play the most epic series anyone has ever seen, and that would be kind of good enough. Now, what you're seeing right here is a very aggressive build by Bisu. He's built his pylon as close to the wall forward as he can, and then he's built the barracks, or not the barracks, I thought for so long and I just said the wrong word, the gateway on the low ground after it. This is basically the fastest way that you can get a pylon that far forward, and this is a Bisu probe. Okay, so aside from this rush, which is going to place this, oh man, I don't know how Flash did this moving shot on the SCV, but that's something that SCVs are notoriously bad at doing. You can kind of, drones have ranged attacks, so it's kind of easy to do them there, and probes have higher acceleration. Oh my god, is Bisu going to lose his probe? Bisu is notorious for being able to keep his probes alive longer than any other player ever. That's just kind of what you associate with him, kind of the Devil Probe guy, along with, I think, Zella. I forget who the other Devil Probe guy was, but Bisu's certainly one of them. He's going to let it regenerate his shields, but here's the first Zealot. Now, this Zealot is going to come a lot faster than you would expect a Zealot to, because normally the gateways are either built as part of a wall or in the main. But because this gateway is pretty far forward, Bisu is probably going to look to put on some pressure here, and because he's weakened some of those SCVs, that might make it a little bit more dangerous. However, because of this positioning between the supply depot and barracks, that means that Marines can fit through that gap and Zealots cannot. So you're either going to have to run the Zealot through past that into the main, or just kind of turn back around. And here comes Flash's SCV just to scout things out. There is a probe on the ramp. Who actually wins this battle? Yeah, it's the probe. Okay, I didn't know exactly how many HP that SCV had, but either way, this should be a pretty tight wall here for Flash, unless Bisu decides to try to run by. And it looks like as these Zealot numbers kind of continue here, then another, wow, yeah, 3 3 Zealots early. This is a remarkable commitment to pressure here by Bisu, and Flash can kind of see this coming. He's got his SCV, keeping eyes on that gateway, and now coming back, maybe trying to scout and see if there are additional Zealots out there as well. Just trying to keep this wall from being built. Wow, actually gets in there and snipes an SCV, so that's actually a big victory. You want to try to keep this bunker from being built. Wow, grabs another SCV, and can the Marines get back between there? One going down already, the other Marines actually taking shots. Actually, more SCVs being pulled, the ramp being blocked, the Marines on them firing, but actually, whoa, so many SCVs getting taken down. Perfect control here by Bisu. He continues to get deep into Flash's base and take out more and more. Now, oh no, that's going to be a little bit too much loss there with 2 going down, but here comes the first Dragoon. Dragoons kill everything that Flash has, so this is going to be a big power kind of swing. First, it's Bisu with a ton of Zealots, but after taking those out, it swings back towards Flash. Now, Bisu back in the lead, kind of, because this Dragoon basically kills everything until tanks or siege mode get out, and that's just gonna take a while. So putting pressure on at the front, this Dragoon is still being very aggressive. Bisu is not expanding, and neither is Flash. But oh no, Bisu, he hasn't controlled this Dragoon properly, and it's gonna take so many shots, so much damage, almost getting kind of Warcraft 3 surrounded there by Flash's Marines. Bisu just had his eyes somewhere else. Thankfully, because of the boxes that you can see on your mini-map, big shout out to StarCraft Remastered for allowing us to see where the players' eyes are pointed. I wasn't actually looking at that because I was watching the units there, but okay, this is going to be really kind of the test. Now, there's no siege mode here. This is just an aggressive push. Bisu does need to control his Dragoons. He snipes the tank! Oh my god, that's a huge blow! And even though one of these Dragoons did go down, 2 Dragoons are so strong because you do need 2 to take out these mines. Now, we'll see if he can do it. He needs to stutter step forward, then step backwards and take out these mines on his way if he wants to go. And look at that. Wow, actually a shield battery built behind this. Bisu just really crossing his I's and dotting his T's, or doing that in reverse, whichever is appropriate. Just to be able to take an expansion here, because he knows if that push had worked out, if he hadn't been able to snipe that tank, he could be in a lot of trouble. And that shield battery, you know, it's pretty cheap, it builds really quickly, and it basically means there's very little way to break through there. As a Terran player early on, because you just fight against immortal Dragoons. Oh man, this game is already so intense. We've had aggressive pressure early on, but now, finally, we are beginning to transition. With both players having gotten their natural expansions up, we're moving into the next phase. And what does this look like? Is Bisu going to continue to commit to this shuttle Reaver play? Is he going to tech up the fast Arbiters? I saw a bunch of people saying that, hey, maybe that's the way to go. We'll see. An academy coming up and an observatory, both players actually not going into an immediate committal to their next strategy, saying, I kind of want to feel things out right now. And of course, as Protoss, you always want to get those observers out pretty early to be able to clear out these minefields and prevent the Terran from being able to have that positional advantage. On the other side, Flash is getting his academy, getting his ComSat scanners up, and so he'll have the ability to kind of see what Bisu is up to right now. What is Bisu up to? I didn't see a support bay come down. I just saw more gateways being added. So, yeah, it does appear as if he is not going to be going for quite such a... Whoa! The Citadel thrown down right as that scan expires. Observer highlighting that there is no more energy left on that ComSat scanner in the natural. Do we have one in the main? Yeah, we do, probably. Of course. I said probably right as I saw it. That was not the right word to use there. We're running out. We've already used most of them, so bear with me a little bit here. First observer is out. That means that Bisu is going on Minesweeper duty. A great game, and of course, even better when Bisu plays it. Pretty flawless so far. Bisu has, of course, that super sexy clip of him clearing mines without an observer. Of course, way easier with one. Moving forward and pressing out to take those mines out. Now, he should memorize the positioning of the mines that he saw laid earlier and return to clear the mines out on the high ground up at the third base, close to the 9 o'clock position. And yeah, right as I say it, there goes Bisu. There he goes, killing again. Up the ramp, even missing a few shots there on the mines, but taking them all out. And we should see kind of the same timing on, a similar timing, rather, on bases as we did last game with Bisu, being the first player to take that third base, but Bisu is going to be going for Dark Templar this game. That's actually really cool. Alternatively, you could be going for Zealot Speed and High Templar Storms. I think that's probably a little bit more likely. Every time I see, just like every time I see Aspire, I think Mutas. Every time I see Bisu, I think, oh, Dark Templar immediately. Maybe not quite so much. We'll see what is actually done there. Someone's like, he said the word Dark Templar, no! Don't worry, guys. We'll see, and all will be remain clear. So, decent positioning here by Bisu. He's pushed onto the high ground here. A scan for Flash will reveal this. See if he can actually push all the way up there. Flash has now vision on the high ground. He's recouped a bunch of scans, and is it just making Flash siege and unsiege? This is always what you want to do if you're like a Zerg player or a Protoss, anything versus Terran. You want to get out on the map, see when the Terran player is trying to get out on the map, trying to push, and stop him in his tracks, force him to siege, unsiege, and slow his progress. Because generally, as the Protoss player in PvT, you want to be out-expanding your Terran opponent and trying to get more bases, saturate them, and kind of a subtle nuance that does bear kind of talking about is that as Protoss, you want your units to be produced from as many different locations as possible, because as the game goes on, eventually Terran will formulate a push somewhere, whether it's pushing towards your natural expansion just because they know it's there, pushing towards a satellite base that you've expanded to out on the map. They'll kind of manifest a push, and because you're a pro player and you have good scouting information, you'll see where that is. And basically, what you want to do with that is have your units be produced from multiple different locations, because then your units spawn and you can kind of surround this push as it overextends out on the map. Now, here we go. We've got the first Templar unit being produced for Bisu. I thought they were going to be DTs. I didn't actually see exactly what was loaded in here. It might be Dark Templar. It might also be High Templar going in for a Storm Drop, but this would be pretty early for that. You see exactly what is on the way. Stargate is flashing. I would expect that to be for Arbiters. I did see the Tribunal up. See what he's going to go in here and drop. Now, I'm guessing this is High Templar looking for Storm. He's going to finally go in for it. Actually, okay, there's a Zealot. What else does he have in there? I didn't actually see. I'm guessing it's a Templar unit. Otherwise, I'm just totally off and everybody's yelling at me right now. But, we'll see what that shuttle wants to get done. It's a little bit timid to just kind of keep your shuttle there and not get anything done with it, because all the while, Flash is getting out of the map and trying to get things done. He's poking into the front with a Vulture. He's trying to lay these minefields out on the map, but he doesn't actually have very many of them just yet. And with the majority of these Vultures being picked off, they'll be able to get in there, get out there and get scouting information and maybe lay a couple of annoying mines. But I mean, Bisu's pretty rock solid here. He's already got a 4th base, a 4th expansion up, as Flash only has 3. However, for Terran, 3 bases are pretty much all you need there. This is kind of like anti-capitalism. It's like, well, why doesn't the Terran take a 4th and a 5th base? Well, because you just kind of have enough. 3 bases is enough to power up through your mech upgrades, and I think the timing that Flash will probably look for is something along the lines of like a 2-1 push or 1-2. I forget exactly how that works because my brain is seen better days. So we'll keep an eye on the upgrades here for both of our players as we get through things. By now, I think we should have Zealot speed or Zealot legs done. Yep, those things are pretty fast, and you definitely want that. If you don't, it is basically infinity, the difference between the value of a Zealot with speed or without speed. If you don't have speed, they just kind of waddle forward and all die before they hit the tanks. If they do, then your tanks are in trouble if you just let Zealots get on top of them. Now, highlighting the upgrades there, you can see both players have their first aggressive upgrade, +1 for mech for Flash, and +1 ranged weapons for Bisu. He also has his first Arbiter out, starting to get these Zealots all the way up the ramp. Nice blocks on top, though. Literal blocks with those supply depots, keeping these Zealots from being very effective. Trying to target that missile turret at the top of the ramp, but not able to break up there. Able to take out a couple of those supply depots, but really sacrificing a lot for a little there. The trade definitely in favor of Flash. Now, what has been researched here for our Arbiters? Does he have Stasis? Does he have Recall? I would imagine he's going to be going for Stasis first, but where is that Arbiter off to? Usually you want to wait to Recall when you know that the Terran is pushed out onto the map, so that his forces are elsewhere, not back in your main. But, who knows? Bisu could definitely be going for something else crazier. Now, this is kind of the scary phase of any game if you're playing against Flash, because you have to know that the longer the game goes on, the more Flash just gets to hit his almost perfect macro stride. And I kind of feel like we're already there. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 factories in base and elsewhere. 3 bases totally rock solid. Mines in the main and the expansions to prevent recalls from being effective, and missile turrets up to stop any arbiters from really being able to get through in the first place. So the best that Bisu can kind of do right now is control the rest of the map and make sure that Flash doesn't get these big minefield slays. And that's pretty much a win right now for Bisu. If you look at the income, you can't see exactly what the income rate is, but you can just see that Bisu's just kind of got a lot. He's got 5 bases up, the 5th one yet to be running, but he's doing such a good job of really keeping Flash from being able to get out here on the map. Finally, Flash breaks through with a small contingent of vultures, and this is not really going to be primarily for harass because things like pylon walls, like you're seeing right there, do exist, and the vultures generally have a pretty hard time because their damage type doesn't chunk through pylons all that quickly. But what Flash does gain from that is map vision, awareness. He's going to see, okay, well, here's where my Protoss opponent has bases, and what, the real potential is there. Both players pretty much maxed out, so they are going to look to push and sacrifice a few of these units because it now becomes a battle of not who can have more units, but who can, trade more consistently effectively. Not a good time to be an observer in Bisu's army. We've seen quite a few of those be picked out. That lone science vessel out along with the Flash's forces, of course, not just to scout for observers, but also, oh no, here we go. It looks like Bisu is going in. Huge clumps of units. These could be god stasises. 1 huge stasis. The second, not quite so great, but actually those stasis form a big wall, a concave in front of Flash's forces that will block the Zealots from being able to get in very easily. So not actually the greatest of stases there for Bisu. He does lock down a lot of units, but it's a lot that's in the way of these Zealots trying to get all the way back into what is a very deep Flash tank line. Oh my god. In the meantime, Flash has been able to get out and put a few minefields out there on the map, but right now what we're about to watch is the unstasis. This is the Great Thaw, if you guys have ever watched those movies. We're about to see 10 days before, 2 days after, the day before, 2 days before tomorrow, where things either freeze or thaw. They were frozen, now they're thawing out. Global warming's real, guys. You can see it right here in your games. Bisu goes forward, tries to bust through with good stasis, but it's just not enough. Flash survives. He hangs on, and now once again, both players right up back at Remax. And now it's Flash's turn to put the push on. And he is way out there on the map against what is going to have to be a retreating force here for Bisu. Now, we're looking for EMPs. Can they land there on those Arbiters? Observer highlighting that there are several Arbiters with energy still. Where are the EMPs? He's looking for it. A miss. He actually did not hit a couple of those Arbiters. A couple of them were hit, but there is at least one with enough energy for stasis. Where's it going to go? Where's he going to shoot it? Looking for the stasis, but it's just not coming. The Dragoons look to be all but demolished right now, and it's actually pretty even supplies for both players. Zealot's actually getting right up close and personal with these tanks, taking them out. Ugh, it's getting a little bit crazy here. One stasis does go down. He actually stasis is a shuttle. I'm not sure how much is inside that shuttle, but it's not going to be doing a whole lot. The Goliaths on the ground targeting the Arbiters in the air, pushing them back. That Arbiter actually might go down. Just barely able to survive. There's one back in the back that's not going to last much longer as the tanks keep pushing further and further forward. Very few forces left here for Bisu, but he's actually on parity with Army overall, on supply overall. Actually, a surprising number of his military units not actually moving a whole lot. And right now, this is where Flash starts to swing the hammer. He runs up into this 9 o'clock base and starts to take the probes out, or just push them back away. And with a push as strong as this, Flash, you really got to feel like he is starting to kind of ascend into a higher and higher chance of winning this game. Now, it's not all over. This is still just one base. And it's the base that Bisu has been mining off of the longest outside of his main and natural. So if this gets taken out, Bisu's kind of had his way with that base already. And he's already expanded to 3 more locations out on the map. So as long as those probes survive, Bisu's income should still be pretty stable. But you really have to look at what is kicking into high gear for Flash, and that is macro. It is insane. It's crazy. He's got huge banks. He's got tons of production facilities, and he's just continuing to ram them down the throat of Bisu's natural expansion. Finally, Bisu has kind of bode his time. Bide-fied, and now he's trying to push out and stop this tank line from being a real threat. Stasis on the tanks in the back line, Stealth Fields on top of the Zealots in the front. They are being revealed though by a pretty immortal science vessel, but not enough. Bisu is pushed back once again. He is mining, distance mining with his probes in the natural. I don't know if that's necessarily where they want to go, because right now it's actually not even just the tanks, it's the Goliaths, it's the Vultures, it's the mines being spread all over there. But the potential for a huge drag into these probes is going to keep them careful, but oh no, it's a probe genocide. They're all getting taken out as Bisu continues to take losses one right after another. However, it's not just defense for Bisu. No, he's getting out there on the map and being aggressive at the same time at the 3 o'clock location on the other side of the map, forcing a lot of Flash's forces to return to deal with this. He's got a nice concave on top of the ramp. Zealots blocking it to keep these Vultures from being able to get up there and be too effective. And so this does pull a lot of Flash's forces backwards. However, Flash has set his sights on another base. He's taken out the 9 o'clock and he's now moving up towards, what do you want to call that position? 9? Let's call it 10 o'clock, guys. All right, we'll be humble with our clock locations here. And so now we're going to see this process repeat itself all over again. However, this time Flash 40 supply up and with a very strong tank line. That is an Archon. Okay, we're just throwing every unit in here. It's great for tanking. It's great for tanking tank shots. If you do want to throw it up there and let it kind of do its job, but with another Nexus falling here, Flash seems to be kind of having his way with the rest of the map. Flash has also, in the meantime, expanded to the 3 o'clock location. The Bisu did try to, deal damage to, but just wasn't enough. Now, oh wow, Stasis on those science vessels, and wow, there's actually nothing to detect here. Wow, Flash is just going to totally lose his tank line. He's being sandwiched on both sides by Zealots, and wow, Bisu's actually just going to completely crush that. However, Flash just does not stop. He's stopped in one place, he's already in another. And there's actually more units up there dealing damage to his 12 o'clock. He's taken out the Nexus already, but man, without any science vessels, these tanks actually go down to the stealth fields from the Arbiters pretty easily. There's also DTs running around everywhere and being super annoying there, but Flash has hung on to his mining bases. So while Bisu may have double quotes stabilized, he still lost several bases. He took some major hits to his economy, losing plenty of probes, and Flash still has his entire economy running. So maybe you guys can take a breather. I'm not allowed to because I don't have a witty co-host to banter with right now, so it's all me for the time being. You guys get to take a deep breath while we get a little bit of a break for the time being. Took a luxurious one there myself, so we're gonna keep going and seeing what is the next move here for Flash. Keeping an eye on upgrades at the same time. We can highlight some units here. I believe Flash is on 2-1 right now. He might actually be on 3-2. We need to highlight some units to see exactly what is happening. Now another big engage. Yeah, it is actually 2-3, 2 armor, 3 aggression, and with not enough units in the middle of the map, Bisu gets caught out of position, taken out. And Flash claims a victorious game number 2 to go up 2-0 in this semifinal series. Ooh, chills if you are a Flash fan. Chills of dread if you are a fan of Bisu, because we are cruising right towards what looks to be an unstoppable 3-0 Flash victory. You pick any moment, Bisu, it's gonna have to be now. You're back up against the wall. You got to do it here. That was Fighting Spirit, so granted it is a very standard map, one that you would expect Flash to do pretty well on. I know there are very strong Protoss strategies, and to be fair, Bisu did a great job getting out of the map, limiting the Vulture presence, taking many bases and defending them, but he just couldn't hang on. The macro machine, the god of war, the ultimate weapon, swung the hammer a little bit too hard and took game number 2. We are going to take a quick break before we come back with game number 3 of Bisu versus Flash, so do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. Game number 3.
성준이 연습하는데 아니 이거 이게 성준이가 잘 못하던데?
너 맞죠? 다음에 중요한데. 최근에 내가 많이 이겼어.
크루신필드 사기 나았지.
내가
마지막
너 나한테 당했잖아.
와, 이 사람
5.5 대 4.5야.
치니까 노답이네 진짜.
너 나한테 줬잖아.
그럼 내가 다 이긴 건데 진짜.
뭔 소리야.
영어가 좀 이상하게 잔잔하더라. 한타를 못 먹겠어.
다 잘해.
잘 찍고 잘 들고 반응 찍고도 그냥 한타도 되게 쉽고.
네, 골리앗 하나밖에는 지금은 안 남아있는 상황이고 허리가 잘려요.
안돼. 회사점이야. 와. 떨어져라. 이미 얘 마음속에는 그거야. 순대로는 된 거야. 자기 하는 거야.
지상군이 차이가 납니다.
칼감을 들어갑니다.
김태경의 판단 자체가 옳았습니다.
내가 볼 때 누굴 만나던 캐리어야 너는.
아니야.
무조건.
왜 캐리어를 해?
자, 인터셉터가 깡통이야, 깡통. 무너는 경기력, 공격적인 경기 운영까지 박성균 선수와 김민중 선수 잡아내면서 8강 진출 이뤄냅니다.
지금 결혼식 때 가야겠네요. 예. 제가 졌으면은 그때 좀 바쁠 것 같았는데.
아 결혼 준비나 해.
11월 5일 날 결혼하잖아요.
화장실 못 가요? 일로 가야 돼요? 아, 사람 너무 많은데?
별풍선 쏴줄 거죠? 합의됐는데.
형 합의됐던데.
아, 그거 오늘 이겨야 된다고.
박선이야 대대로 고가. 와, 이번엔 진짜 지옥 끝까지 가요.
없어요. 그냥 기본기로 하는 거죠. 원래 영호 아니면 태경이 하는 거. 홍보면 상대가 괜찮다. 없어. 몰래 처리.
드론하다가 좀 빠지죠.
전진 게이트만 있는 게 아니거든요.
마치 프로토스인 마냥.
이번에 윤종이 잡으면 몇 강까지 올라갈 것 같아?
결승 갈 것 같아.
잡았어. 옥저버 터졌습니다. 황제가 되기 위해서는 배고파 봐야 됩니다.
조금 이르지만 그럼 결승에서 만나고 싶은 선수가 있다면?
플래시.
The challenge begins. KT Giga Internet, ASL Season 4.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ASL Season 4 semifinals. So many people in the studio tonight. If we gave every one of them a typewriter, they could write the Magna Carta probably instantly. There's just that many people here. And of course, shout out to everybody out there watching online. Thanks for tuning in for such an epic night. Bisu, the Revolutionist, a legendary Protoss player, facing off against kind of this longtime rival and contemporary Flash, the ultimate weapon. And you know, things were going great for Bisu in game number 2. Things unfolding as you would expect. And then it kind of started looking like the opening to Newsies, you know, until one day, all that changed. Flash attacked. He did a very, very strong push, crushed Bisu's natural, took out the 9 o'clock base, and then just kept going around the map, taking bases one after another. And I mean, with game 3 coming up, the white ships are calling to carry Bisu home if he cannot bring things back and do what no other player has managed to all season long, and that is to take a single map off a Flash. Of course, Bisu's in that same category. He has not dropped the map this entire season either. Both players with flawless victories this entire season. So you really do have to expect greatness from them both. All right, well, regardless, we are coming up onto our third map of the series. It is Crossing Field. You see that there on your screen before I even said it. Crossing Field will be our third map, and this is you know, really interesting. It's a new map that we're bringing into this season, and it's been a little bit rough sometimes. For Terran players, you can get control of the high ground, ramps in the middle of the map. Things can start looking pretty good for you, but we'll see how it transpires as we get into game number 3, the ASL semifinals. Flash versus Bisu.
KT Giga Internet, ASL Season 4.
Gotta make sure I go. I was wrong, I can tell. For the heart can be blind and frozen. Now I live with the pain every night, every day.
I think we have louder cheers. Bisu. Tons of people in the audience here and online witnessing the greatest spectacle of our time, and that is Flash versus Bisu. Bisu, of course, our Protoss player, and of course, oh my god, the Revolutionist. What a sick sign. Shout out to that guy. I am mugging you for that later on. Just super sick. Actually, we have a golden mouse sign here for Flash later, or in the back. I'm not sure if they've shown it on screen, but tons of people bringing all kinds of like really old school memorabilia. I mean, there are artifacts from previous seasons that just show up in the studio after being lost for maybe 10 years. Somebody brought, I think, like a July Zerg scarf to the studio one time. I'm like, oh my god, that is just like basically 12 years old. Yeah, so just some crazy stuff, some crazy fans everywhere out there, and of course, really, really good games so far. But so far, it has been Flash dominating. Bisu, though, I mean, you can see that the fundamentals are there. This is a guy that knows pretty much exactly what to expect, so it is not a surprising move that has been able to overcome him so far. It has been just the rock-solid fundamentals, because nobody does what Flash does better than he does it. If your strategy is like, well, I'll just try to, be better than him at something, just let me stop you there. It's not going to happen. You have to find some way to either like outsmart him or come up with a strategy that is that does not revolve around you being better than him, specifically at macro. I don't think there's a player out there that can quite live up to that just yet. We've seen it in both games in this series. But this game will actually look a little bit more standard than our last opener. Last time we had that forward pylon into or a high ground pylon into a low ground forward gateway for early zealot pressure and dragoon pressure that just looked so close to dealing critical damage. Not going to have it here. A big difference in this map as opposed to our previous 2 Gladiator and Fighting Spirit is that it is just going to be 2 players, so you're going to have a pretty good idea of where your opponent spawns. And that allows Bisu to get the perfect scout, and anytime a Bisu probe gets into your base faster than normal, well, you're going to have a bad time. Bisu's probe last game actually took quite a few shots, so this time we should see a little bit more of the Devil probe in him. Waiting to see the timings on our expansions. We have not seen a fast expand at all this series. I'm guessing because that would trigger just an insane reaction from their opponent that might put him at a disadvantage. But one characteristic that we often see cause a difference in games like this are the decision to take a forward or back natural expansion. Bisu has opted to take his rear expansion that is maybe a little bit more protected, whereas Flash is expanding outwards onto the map just to try to establish that natural, because as a Terran player in TVP, if you can secure 3 bases, that's kind of a fast track on to getting tons of upgrades and macro and really everything you need to start putting together a very scary push. Did he eBay block that? Yeah, it actually looks like he did. I can't see behind that, but yeah, he did. He Engineering Bay blocked the closest mineral patches. And that is always worth it to do, whether it's manor pyloning or eBay blocking. It's not as effective as pylons because they build themselves, which is, by the way, totally fair and balanced. I just want to say that as a non-Protoss player, I fully approve of something as, super equal as... I'm just salty. The Engineering Bay block is kind of the Terran version of that. Zerg, sorry, you don't get to block resource patches. You can take assimilators or extractors if you want to. That's, I guess, one way to be annoying. But regardless, the block is effective. It's being annoying. Oh, and actually, okay, there we go. We did see the converse of that. Now, this is actually really cool because Bisu did get in for a gas steal. Now, what gas stealing in PvT does to the Terran is it delays, all of the tech that they would use gas for. So the big thing would be siege mode. Oh, wow, how does it get in there? Oh, wow, actually, really even more impressive. Zealot taking the SCV out. but it's going to delay all the Terran's tech. You're just not going to have as many gases up or as much gas income. Yeah, you can see it's actually just still up. So even though there's this factory coming down with the meager gas coming in from the natural expansion, you know, that's just annoying, because as Terran, you kind of want just tons of gas to make as many tanks as possible and keep that flow incoming. Finally, is going to take out that assimilator, but because he has this gas at his natural, I guess it's not going to throw him off all that much. I was maybe overstating that just a little bit. It's still annoying, and it does give you vision inside the Terran base. Here, actually, wow, is a fast third expansion for Flash because it is much safer. Ooh, gotta be careful there, Bisu. Do not want to get in there into range of the bunker. In general, you want to wait for Dragoon range to finish and then force SCVs to be pulled to repair there once you do have that range advantage. Whew. All right, so we get a little bit of a breather. What should this game look like? You know, if it plays out completely, totally standardly, then you would see maybe a commitment to like more of a mass gateway style and then into arbiters off of like 3 or 4 bases. There is like a 2-base arbiter variant, but I don't see any. Oh, wow. Okay, well, there's the Stargate. Only 2 bases up right now. Where's the Arbiter Tribunal? Oh, no! It's a Fleet Bacon! All right, we're cooking it up, frying up some crispy strats here. All right, we've got carriers most likely on the way, unless he is going to disruption web his way to victory, which, by the way, is also just not going to happen. So, wow, this is already going to be a little bit unique. It's not quite... I don't know if this will be 2-base carrier. Okay, he needs to block this SCV. This is important. As long as the SCV gets denied, that is victory for Bisu, because he's going to keep this strategy from being revealed immediately. Now, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot that you can do to stop Terran from scanning. You can try to position your Stargates in wacky spots, but then if the Terran doesn't scan it, they almost react kind of reflexively, saying, oh, well, if you don't have Stargates there, you probably have them elsewhere. And lo and behold, a perfect scan on the Stargates. Surprise! Now, what a lot of Terrans do if they do get this kind of scouting information to say, uh-oh, I know what's happening here, you can see them push out aggressively, and we actually might see exactly that here from Flash. It's one of the ways that Mind actually advanced into the round of 8, was off of realizations like that, where he's like, wait a second, you're going for this wacky strat. Let's stop you from doing that. And so, this is a very important moment for Flash. We're going to see if he wants to go for... Oh my god! All right, here we go. This is going to be... I don't know if it's quite the deep 6, but it's going to be a lot of barracks. And one of the reasons... Holy expletive, Batman. This is just going to be insanity. Is he building 6 racks? Oh my god! Somewhere Artosis is turning in his grave. The deepest of 6s out here. Yeah, that is going to be 6 racks. Wait, is that... No way. Oh my god. So this is what I was talking about, but not in quite the way that I was expecting. When you do scan double starport, or 2 or 3 base carriers, you have a lot of options. But this is going to be, oh my god, this is like 7, this is 8 racks. What? I don't, oh my god, he's going off the grid, guys. We are about to witness greatness the likes of which the world has never seen. Also, if this doesn't work, then Flash, you know, kind of has some work going on. But he is up 2 games, so you can really just go for anything at this moment. Now, the first 2 carriers are out for Bisu. However, these really rely on kind of a surprising effect. 2 carriers are not really game-winning. You can kind of build missile turrets around 2 carriers. They're going to be annoying, but not game-winning, especially because missile turrets are already out. Also, I don't believe Bisu has any idea, because what's about to happen is, even though he has this tech advantage with carriers, he's going to fly in here, and not only will there be a perfectly ready waiting ring... Oh no! Oh no! Bisu's not going to go in and see it! He doesn't know that there's mass barracks right now. Okay, finally, he's going to see the 2 racks, he sees 3 racks, and all of a sudden Bisu knows, whoa, things are looking a little bit spooky. I know it's Halloween and Friday the 13th and all kinds of cool stuff like that, but this is, suffice it to say, a little bit scarier. This is Nightmare on Flash Street. He's coming for your dreams, Bisu. All the dreams of Bisu fans everywhere. I don't know, man. It's going to look a little bit rough. Also, because Terrans have to build an academy in order to get scans up, that academy is already built and will be ready to go with things like STEM, marine range, and all kinds of cool stuff like that. Because this is just I don't even know how to describe this. I might have miscalled it slightly earlier because truly who can predict an insane amount? I think it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 racks. Might even be 9. I don't even know. There's too many Marines out here, and the medics are what really are going to be so valuable. They keep the interceptors from being able to crush through the Marine count, and now back at home, okay, this is the exactly correct reaction from Bisu. And if you want to watch Artos' stream highlights, you know exactly what it looks like when a Terran player tries to go bio against a Protoss that's going Reavers. And in fact, there might be a little bit of deja vu for all of you that have seen that clip that I'm talking about where a Reaver shot kills like 16 Marines, because that's what's coming. Bisu is transitioning into Reavers, which are a great way to deal with a high bio count from Terran. There are some weird, wacky strats that come off of getting your gas stolen that Terrans can kind of employ, but this is just like to the nth degree. A crazy level of bio coming out here. It is off 3 base, but now moving forward, trying to limit the anti-air count. If Bisu can kill off the bio numbers, oh no! It's the take shots kill the Reaver instantly. They take it out, and now Bisu might just, okay, no, there's, I don't know how many more Marines are coming in here. It's just kind of like a parade push coming out onto the map. Are there enough Marines to push these carriers back? Yes, there are. Wow, that Reaver snipe was just so crucial for Flash. If there's also a Reaver killing on the spy on the ground, that is where you start to get into trouble. But finally, Bisu actually choosing the hill to die on right now. Oh, actually building, I think, a supply depot there to kind of block. I think that was what that was. I don't even know, but there's stuff blocking up in the front, but now there's not any more. More and more Marines coming up. Actually, I think a carrier went down behind this. No, that was actually just an explosion of, yeah, whatever is being built there at the front door. More and more Zealots being rallied out here. There is a shuttle, doesn't have a Reaver in it. I think there actually might just be one Reaver, but actually several of these carriers actually taking down dangerously low. The Zealots getting once again back onto the tanks. 3 Zealots actually taking out their front tank. There's only 1 more tank left. The Reaver Scarab! It explodes and actually almost takes out almost all of those Marines, but the Marine count is thinning. There are tanks back towards the back of these Scarabs. No! It's a huge shot! Bisu slaughtering Flash's Marines! He takes them out and pushes Flash back! More and more Scarabs starting to land, and only a handful of tanks. SCVs actually being forced to be pulled here. Flash is in a lot of trouble, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and aliens of all sizes. If you're witnessing this spectacle, you might just have witnessed a Bisu turnaround. Both players on 3 bases, but the strategy that Flash has gone for has by and large failed. He has not been able to put on a sufficient degree of pressure to inhibit the strategy. No, oh my god, the DPS is there. He's trying to take out the shuttle. He drops the Reaver, but is it enough? No, I think actually the Reaver went down. There's no more Scarabs underneath this, but there might not be enough bio on the ground. Flash's forces being taken out 1 by 1 and more being rallied up. Is there enough here? The bio strategy, so strange to see, but if there's anybody that can pull it off, it's Flash. If there's anyone that can stop him, it's Bisu, and with every Marine being taken out, Flash taps out. Bisu takes game number 3. I hope the sound guy set up the compressor on my mic correctly this time, because I'm definitely overdriving it, and I'm not the only thing being overdriven, man. Bisu dominating what was just the wackiest of strat. If you expect somebody to pull out a strange strategy, it's not Flash, it's Bisu. He's the creative guy, but Flash, man, scouting the carrier tech and going all in on, what was that, 8 barracks, maybe even 9 towards the end? I don't even know. That's insanity. We are witnessing one of the greatest series of our time. Bisu coming back from being down 0-2 to take us to a game number 4. I don't even know what to say. This map will be Skull Desert, or Gold Rush, if you want to use the technical name. I like Skull Desert more. It's coming up next as our 4th map in this map pool. If we go to a game 5, it's Gladiator, a map I'm sure Bisu wants to play on again. But man, after a victory here, Bisu has started to kind of maybe find chinks in the armor. It turns out, as a Terran player, even if you're Flash, you go bio, sometimes it's just not enough, which is why you do see it predominantly mech. But, congratulations to Bisu for being able to do what no other player in the ASL Season 4 has done and take a game off Flash. We'll find out if he can do it again when we come back after a short commercial break, so don't go anywhere. The ASL semifinals continues right after this.
무거운데?
한 게임 포커?
제 겁니까? 10들어있는데 이거 어땠어요? 포커 카드 게임 아니에요?
아니 뭐 저랑 지금 포커 치자고요 지금 나랑?
제가 한 게임 포커 신이었습니다. 모르나? 제가 고수라는 게 벌써 이제 한 게임까지 소문이 났나요?
거의 제야의 고수라고 할까? 숨겨진 고수.
거의 이 정도야. 제 친구들이 되게 많이 하거든요.
뭐 그 실력 어디 가겠습니까? 타짜인데 내가. 나랑 무슨 배짱으로 저를 이길 수 있다고 생각하시는 거예요? 저를? 온라인으로 하는 거잖아요, 그죠? 그럼 좀 어려우려나?
어떻게 이겨 그 사람을? 마술사잖아. 호이도 잘하려나? 그럼 내가 꼴찌인가?
고수 중에 고수, 변고수인 저를 만나게 돼서 랭킹전이 있다고 해요. 본인의 실력이 어느 정도인지 지금 당장 체크하세요. 저보다 안 됐으면 당신은 가수, 나는 고수.
아기만 안 나오면 내가 이길 수 있는데.
김준호 씨 아시죠? 그분한테도 제가 많이 배웠습니다. 그렇기 때문에
우승은 나야 나.
차원이 다른 클래스를 이겨보세요.
경민대학교에서 ASL 시즌4에 후원해 주셨다고 들었습니다. 올해 개교 50주년을 맞아서 새로 신설된 게임 콘텐츠과가
앞으로 e스포츠 발전에
큰 힘이 되어주길 바랍니다. 경민대학교 화이팅!
아프리카TV에는 당신이 아는 것보다 다양한 인정이 살고 있죠. 말 많은 인정, 발 빠른 인정, 잘 먹는 인정, 영리한 인정, 친절한 인정까지. 모든 게 컨텐츠가 되고 누구나 주인공이 되는 세상. 알고 보면 멋진 세상.
Are you free? AfreecaTV.
Three games, 2-1 is the score. Bisu finally finding a way to come back in game number 3 and doing what no other player could. And really, truly, who would it be to end Flash's undefeated ASL streak except for Bisu? We come now to game number 4. The map is Gold Rush, or Skull Desert. It is a new map, but one with tons of unique strategies, and I'm excited to talk about all of them. It is a 3-player map, so we've had 2 4-player, a 2-player, and now we return, or we head to a very interesting, a very different way to play the game. And of course, we just got done seeing a very different way to play the game in Flash's Bio Push, an 8 racks reaction to 2 base carriers coming out of, or 2 port carriers coming out of Bisu. And wow, we are just progressing further forward. If this was a 3-0, I think no one would be more thankful than my vocal cords, which are kind of starting to deteriorate, but the hype is just going on and on. So let's go ahead and get into game number 4 on Gold Rush.
18 Giga Internet, ASL Season 4.
Gotta make sure I was wrong. I can tell for the heart can be blind and frozen. Now I live with the pain every night.
In the top, Skull Desert. This is Bisu. And in the bottom, on the right-hand side, this is Flash. In the yellow, Bisu, of course, in the blue. Both of our players in the semifinals. Tonight, we will know our 2 players that will advance to the ASL Grand Finals on the 12th. We're going to take it a little bit easier in the beginning of this map. Trying to think about exactly what to expect. You know, we've seen aggressive starts from players like Bisu. He did go for that forward gateway into Zealot pressure that was almost kind of tipping the scales against Flash in Game 2. Wasn't enough. Flash keeps pulling armies out of sleeveys and about everywhere else to come out with the best macro in the game and take so many wins. But you know, this time it's going to be still quite a big map, but like I said, very different style. So it's a 3-player map. That means that you're always going to know where your opponent is after your first scout. Even if you don't scout him, of course, he's just in the other position. But the really unique part to this map are kind of the edges. It's a little bit like Outsider in the fact that you do have these bases kind of spread around the edges. There's no double gas or anything crazy like that, but you have the ability to kind of glitch your SCVs through the side. With some mineral patches and some lurker egg shenanigans, stuff like that. You can see the map data there in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, showing that it's been pretty even so far. And here we go, doing exactly what I was talking about. You use mineral walking to get your worker through there and around the edge of the map to get a better scout of your opponent. Tons of fan signs in the audience, some of them from our foreign fans. And what is that? Oh, that was the second time he was scouting through. But he's going to meet a probe here, so this shouldn't be too much of a surprise. Both players going for that back scout. This means that there's, basically no way to deny scouting early on unless you want to hold position a worker on the ramp, but you would really have to be hiding something for that to be the case. A pylon thrown down there just because a lot of times Terrans, when they scout, will try to count pylons, and if they're missing a pylon, well, where is that? What is it doing? Is there a proxy? You don't know. It's also going to be in a position where if you're sending a dropship or a shuttle along that side, I guess it would be dropships if Bisu's scouting for it, then you're going to be able to see that ahead of time thanks to that pylon position. So things just being set up as Flash actually surprisingly is working on his expansion before Bisu is. Bisu also has not dealt with the SCV that is in his main, and so that means that even if he is trying for a one-base strategy here, he won't be able to go for it without it being scouted immediately. No aggressive units coming out, and Bisu not really doing anything too crazy except from having taken his good sweet time taking an expansion at this point. Traditionally the Protoss player is the one to expand more quickly, but sometimes that does come after getting your kind of infrastructure up. So right now we're going for Dragoons, Dragoon range, and yeah, here we go. First one coming out, starting to put a clock on the SCV. Enters, or exits rather, Bisu's base. Yeah, there's no way that Dragoon's getting open. This is just comical. The SCV, so much more maneuverable. And it is going to keep... Oh, it's actually going to mineral walk its way out of here. Okay. Oh, no, one more shot. Nope, just kidding. Not going to get a Dragoon through there. All right, so Flash is essentially pushed out of Bisu's space. He has gone for a natural expansion. Bisu has not. Although, will he be throwing down one right here? Yeah, he has the resources, and we should be seeing a low ground nexus up there at the 2 o'clock position. I'm going to call that 1 o'clock. He's like, this guy doesn't even know what he's talking about. He calls clock positions wrong. It's like, well, more of a digital guy myself, so we'll leave it there. Expansion now finally coming down for Bisu. It is behind Flashes, but one of the interesting characteristics of this map is that if you do want to take the closest third base to you, it is a mineral only down there right in front. Otherwise, you're going to have to push maybe a little bit further out, find a place to put your base at a base with a gas. You can push through the double assimilators by taking them out and then take a gas down there at the, what is that, 7 o'clock if you want to grab that there, or push to any of the inner 3 gas bases. So just some of the options. If you guys are new to this map, it is new this season, and it's not one that has been played kind of extensively, so it is maybe a little bit newer to everybody out there. If you're really hoping for Tau Cross and you just read the Wikipedia article, no, that was just for qualifiers. We're not using that anymore. Pressure on the front, so things are starting to look a little bit more standard, normal. The Protoss putting on pressure, and it's kind of cool to see the way that this game ebbs and flows. Because while we have literal minefields that will come up at some point in this game, we also kind of have figurative timing minefields where you can die if you're not ready for the transition. So a big one is Dragoon range. That allows Dragoons to outrange the bunker and start to put pressure down there. The next timing would be siege mode. That means that the tank has enough range to push the Dragoons back from harassing this. Now, that tank is actually in a position where I don't think it can hit the Dragoons if they're harassing from the right side, but rather than stay in and try to be greedy and lose early Dragoons that might wind up losing the game, Bisu does opt to just pull back and, actually might take out that SCV? No. I was worried there for a second, guys. I was trembling in my booth. I don't really have a booth, I just have a chair, which is, by the way, very lonely because there's no chair beside it. But we're doing the best we can, and so are Bisu and Flash. Bisu especially, going for a very kind of unique early carrier tech and being able to even deal with what Flash was bringing at him. Now in game number 2, what is the style coming up here? Wow, I should probably just check to see if that was a support bay. Did not see that, so we'll make our way back through there. That's one of the reasons I kind of like the less information in StarCraft Remastered or Brood War games. That's why I think there is a little bit of controversy, or there has been, on what whether or not to show the production tab that has just been recently added in. And I really want to err towards not doing that, because it makes casters, myself included, as well as viewers, have to be just a little bit smarter. You really have to put a lot of effort into, hey, what did I see? What's coming out there? There was a support bay that I didn't notice, and if you're a viewer, you got to pay attention to these things instead of just being like, oh, of course he's making a Reaver, I are smart. Well, no, you got to be a little bit more proactive. I really enjoy that because it makes you be active as a viewer, as a caster. So that's just my little soapbox on it. Of course, if you're watching your own replays, production tab away. But yeah, it is going to be Reaver tech coming out in shuttles. And this is what I think some people were talking about as being a predominant strategy that Bisu might try. There's lots of vulnerable positions because Reavers have such long range. They do kind of equal tanks in that regard. Of course, I don't want to totally equivocate them, but they are long-range ways to deal with kind of picking off little things on the edge of your opponent's bases. And this comes before really a big ring of turrets has been set up, so you can get in there and be pretty annoying before it's just, you're running everything into every turret everywhere. Transition is just going to be, just adding more gateways on behind this as a third base comes up for our Protoss player. Now, Flash is actually yet to expand again. Remember I talked about just being a mineral only if you want to expand to the easy base right out in front. You have to work a little bit harder to take a third base as a Terran player. As a Protoss, you can actually just, you really like the position that these bases are in because they're not only very far away from your opponent, cross-map positions, but also you can ferry your probes there, and it's very difficult for things like vultures to run by and get in and harass your probe line. So Bisu is probably feeling pretty comfortable. The problem is that he hasn't really been able to get in and do much to Flash. He does have double shuttles. Whoa. We've seen players, lesser Protoss players, attempt this kind of strategy where you go for either 2 or 4 Reavers. I think one of the shuttles actually has predominantly Zealots in it. Oh, wow. Observer actually does get picked off there at the front. That does draw Flash's attention kind of up there, but Bisu's actually poised to make a big move in here. He's got a couple of shuttles. Sniping off, I believe that was an SCV. But yeah, he's got these 2 shuttles. One of them has Zealots in it, the other has a Reaver or 2. And we'll see all of that come to fruition here momentarily. Alternatively, what he could do is try to ferry Dragoons in with this strat, or just try to keep this third base from coming up. You can put on a lot of pressure, especially if you're willing to reveal the Reaver tech. Currently, I haven't been keeping a track of exactly where Flash has been scanning, so I don't know if he totally has this, but the shuttles are actually on the high ground, and here we go. We're going to try to see if they can come in there. They're going to just power over as soon as that shuttle speed completes. He's going to run over there. Those are very low shuttles. One shuttle actually does buffer for the other. There's a Reaver in the mineral line. Okay, not going to go for the SCVs. He could have gotten a huge hit off there, but instead, he's actually going to take out this armory and take out 3 supply depots at the same time. That would be absolutely mental if he can get in there and do it. He might actually, he gets the tank. All right, so this is actually really big. He's going to lose the shuttle here. No, he doesn't drop the Reaver again. A Scarab goes off, but it's actually fairly inconsequential. and it doesn't even take down very much at all. Wow. Okay, so that could have been much, much better for Bisu if he had either taken out that big clump of buildings, hit a big shot on a bunch of workers as they ran away, but was really unable to do a whole lot. He lost one shuttle very early that was unable to unload its entire payload, and the second shuttle didn't really come to fruition with that Reaver. So Bisu has not only revealed his entire tech tree at this point, but he also has sort of shown that he is willing to get in there and try to bring the pressure to Flash before he pushes out. In earlier series, game 1 and 2, we saw Bisu be pretty content to kind of wait until Flash became the aggressor. But in this game, no, Bisu is all about bringing the pain. And so he's going to try to hit from a couple of different directions. He's going to see if he can find a direction to hit from the back. Well, he runs in with a bunch of Zealots there up front. Now, the bunker is actually shooting this shuttle, but with a Bulldog approach attempted there, he's trying to drop the Zealots on top of the tanks. Are there actually enough Zealots here? It looks like there might just barely be. Now, the Vultures are actually doing a great job taking these Zealots out before they're able to take out the tank line. And with all the Dragoons going down, Flash holds. Ooh, the rest of the Zealots have to head for the hills. Bisu also only on 3 bases. He's just now building his Nexus there at his mineral only 4th. That does provide him with basically infinity Zealots, so it's pretty good to have. But it's all about how you use the Zealots. And that time it was remarkably ineffective. He tried like a Bulldog approach, not the build, but just like the style, the idea that you're going to send a shuttle in to drop Zealots on top of tanks and take them out easily. But there were plenty of Vultures that Flash had to buffer for that. So he was able to kill the Zealots before they killed the tanks, and usually that means Terran wins the fight. If you take a look at the supply, Flash is actually up in the supply, so his macro is just way on point. And on the other side, okay, it's actually cool to see the tech transition here for Bisu. He's gone ahead and gone up to Templar Archive, so we might see plenty of storms. And actually, is there going to be a storm here? No, it's a Reaver on the high ground. So what we're going to see here is, because the Scarab is in range, I think you can actually hit the SCVs and make the Scarab take the long way around there if you find just the right spot. Maybe I'm totally wrong about that, but either way, it's still damage being done, Bisu getting out there and being active on the map with that Reaver tech that he committed to earlier. Finally, the first big push from Flash starts to materialize. It reaches his arm up into the mouth of the skull in the middle. I don't know if that's what he's into, but it looks like he's now transcending the mouth up towards the eyes, right between them. And now trying to find a good place to engage on to Bisu's army. A few Zealots sacrificed just to force a siege up here. Totally worth it in that regard, because there are tons more Zealots being rallied in here. Now still, the supply advantage for Flash, but not all of it's here with the army. Several of it back at home, and he is pushing in towards Bisu. Now how good are these Scarabs? A couple of them do connect. Oh, a nice pickup there on the Reaver, but it does finally go down. And with all of the Dragoons dropping and the Zealots disappearing, the supply starts to plummet for Bisu. The tanks on siege for Flash, and I think he might just have done critical damage here, guys. He has begun to push in to Bisu's 4th base, and here come more Zealots. This has to do critical damage. A D-Matrix on the front tank, and that means that Flash should be able to hold here. The Zealots evaporate, and with them possibly Bisu's hopes of being able to advance to his first ASL semifinal. Now there are Arbiters out, but there aren't any more hopes. 2 Gs come out, and it's all that it takes for Flash to claim a 3-1 victory over the Revolutionists, taking out Bisu and advancing to his 3rd ASL Grand Finals. A look of relief, of triumph, of ultimate victory for Flash, knowing that he has overcome the hardest hurdle in his way in a very long time. Dejection, defeat on the face of Bisu as he cries beautiful tears for what has been a truly beautiful evening. We have just witnessed one of the greatest series between 2 of the greatest players in our modern Brood War era. And even in the current era, Bisu and Flash, such legendary moments for both of those. But none more impactful than tonight's games. A 3-1 victory for Flash. He will advance to the final. He will be going up against Hero, a somewhat unlikely underdog that arose to meet him all the way in the finals. Those finals will be coming up on the 12th, but before we get to them, we have to hear a word from our champion. It is Flash. And we'll be getting an interview with him momentarily. Of course, cheers from the crowd as they applaud him, they laud him for his victory tonight. And an impressive victory it was, just showing how decisive, how impressive, how rock solid you can look. There's a reason they call him God. There is a reason he is the ultimate weapon. He proves it once again, over and over again. A legion of fans and a reason for every one of them. If you're watching online or in person and you are a supporter of Bisu, you have to be proud of his performance here today. But if you are a supporter of Flash, the legend just gets brighter and brighter with every game he plays. Everyone except game number 3. He's coming into our interview here. You can see him walking up. And I can't wait to hear what he has to say about having gone through the most difficult trials he has had possibly in his entire ASL. Taking out Bisu, a player that no other player has been able to deal with this entire season. And he's done it. You can see the X over the phrase that congratulates Bisu and a big circle around the world. Congratulates Flash. Congratulations, Flash. You have advanced to the grand finals. How do you feel?
일단 3연속 결승에 올라가서 너무 기쁘고요. 정말 쉽지 않았는데.
You know, this is my third time to advance onto the finals, and so I'm really, really happy. You know, this was not easy, advancing to the finals, so it feels even better. You know, there's a lot of fans saying that Flash is still improving, even to this day. A lot of people are even saying that Flash now is even stronger than Flash back in his prime. Flash says, well, yeah, I just keep practicing, I never stop, and as I consistently practice, I never stop improving. I would never compare myself to the form I was at in my heyday, but personally, I think that all the experiences that I've had have continued to make me a stronger and stronger player, and because of all of those matches, I become a stronger player offline as well.
사실
So when Bisu pulled out his carriers, you decided to go for a bionic Terran build. Is this something that you practiced? Was it worth it for you?
캐리어가 나오자마자 배럭적으로 확인하길래 아 이거는 막히나 보다. 연습할 때 막히나 보다. 저는 사실 긴가민가 했거든요. 하면서도. 그래서 그냥 3경기 때는 그냥 뭔가 질 것 같았어요.
I knew that Bisu would know that I was going to go bio. So I knew that Bisu expected that. But you know, I knew that I was going to have a difficult time against his carrier build, so I just had to try it. So Hero made it to the finals. A lot of people have said that if Flash makes it to the finals, he will be the champion. What do you have to say about that, Flash? Flash saying, you know, I know Hero defeated all of these great Zerg players on its way to the finals, and a lot of fans ask me, you know, who is tougher between Hero and Larva? And Flash said that I think Hero is very solid and very difficult to deal with. And if I drop my guard at any moment, I feel like I have a huge chance to lose against Hero. So I know that I won the last 2 seasons, but there is always a chance for me to be eliminated. So do you have any words for your fans who have supported you so far, Flash? Said, you know, even before I came to the studio, I lost almost every one of my practice games. And so I was really unsure coming into tonight's games. And so all I could do was play the best that I could. And I think really, you know, luck was on my side. I have even more respect for Bisu after playing him tonight. I have more respect, and I have an even greater responsibility to claim victory in the finals after taking out Bisu here today. So that is going to do it for our interview with Young-ho Flash, who claims a 3-1 victory over Bisu. Really cool series. Games 1 and 4 I felt were really decisive from Bisu. He holds off the shuttle Reaver pressure expertly, deftly, adeptly, and claims victory there, but still a really cool victory in Game 3 for Bisu, a game that I'm definitely going to go back and watch, and I hope you all will too. It's been a night to remember here in the ASL Season 4 semifinals, and of course, nothing more exciting than the grand finals coming up. The legacy, the legend, Flash, one of only 2 players aside from Nada to claim both a golden badge and a golden mouse for 3 OSL StarLeague victories and 3 MSL victories. Now, 3 ASL victories is within his grasp. Can he claim what no other player in the history of any form of StarCraft has? And that is 3 victories in the 3 largest, most dominant tournaments in the world. I mean, you really just have to wonder if Hero can stop Flash from really achieving what looks to be his destiny as the greatest Brood War player in the current era. What a treasure it has been to watch Flash play in these tournaments, and he's beaten C, he's beaten Shine, and now Hero comes up against him in the ASL Season 4 Finals. Of course, once again, that will be at Hanyang University. It's in the northeastern side of line number 2 in Seoul, South Korea. If you're elsewhere, make sure to tune in. If you can make it to the university, it is an absolutely impressive venue, and it's going to look even better when we fill it with Brood War. So make sure to come out and support the StarCraft Remastered fans, and of course, come see Flash play at the finals. That will be at the on the 12th, so make sure to watch that. But make sure to go back and watch these games, other games. It's just been an incredible season, and it's been my honor to be able to bring you these games. I know it's been a little rough solo casting yesterday and today. I won't be able to speak after this, and I hope none of you will be either, because there's just been so many epic moments, so many clutch plays, and I just couldn't have asked for a better semifinals. You know, it feels like the finals, but there is still the finals to come. So whether or not you're a supporter of Bisu, a supporter of Flash, at the end of the day, you have to be a supporter of StarCraft Remastered. So if you're saying, well, Bisu lost, I'm not going to watch the finals, or, well, Flash is just going to win, I don't really care. No, that is absolutely the problem. You have to support, like, you know, don't, it's not even like a hate the player, hate the game. Just support the game because it's what the players support too. So I hope to see you all there at the grand finals. Don't forget, we have on Tuesday, the 3rd place match will be played, so you don't want to miss that one either. Thank you so much for watching tonight's semifinals. I hope to see you back here for the grand finals and the 3rd place match. Have a good night.
Feel them watching me while I'm learning to survive. Staring at my broken world and I'm too tired. So many demons I can't escape, burning my bridges to light the way. I can feel them watching me, but I'll make it out alive. I'm learning to survive.
The challenge begins.